when I was younger and my sister was younger, we got in an argument. I can't remember what the argument was about. She was 7 and I was 10 years old, so it can't have been that big of a deal. Somehow, I decided that I was going to get back at her. So I got a big iced tea jug that my mom had just bought from Walmart. I remember it vividly. It was purple, and it looked like a big group of grapes. It had all these, circles protruding out of the side of it. It was about this big. I mean, it was a big jug. I got the jug. It was plastic and shiny, and I walked down the back of my yard to the path that led to the river outside my house. I didn't form this whole plan, just as an aside, until I was actually doing it. I didn't sit there in my room scheming at my sister thinking, wow, this is what I'm going to do to get back at her. It just unfolded in this way. Well, when I got to the river, I filled the iced tea jug, big jug, with freshwater clams that I pulled out of the river. I probably put about 25 or 30 clams in that jug. It took me the better part of an hour to collect all of them. Well, when I was done, I carried the jug back to the house. My mother and my sister were not there. I can't remember where they went, but that might have been part of how this plan really came together. I went into my sister's room and I opened the door, and it was really hard to open the door all the way. There was stuff in the way because her room was a total mess. She had clothes, she had things under her bed, she had Beanie Babies everywhere, just everywhere. She had books, she was an avid reader, books on her bed, books on the floor, books jammed under the door. It was crazy. Needless to say, she did not make her bed. So I put the iced tea jug under her bed, and I slid it in the corner of the bed. The bed was up against 2 walls. She didn't roll out of bed at night. Up against 2 walls, and I slid it back there, and then I took a whole bunch of clothes. I remember there being a collection of jeans that I covered the jug with. Well, it was the summer. This was on summer vacation when I had so much time to go get freshwater clams. And a couple of days went by, and as you can imagine, the clams started to stink. Like, really stink. They smelled like low tide, that just wall of air that hits you at low tide, mixed with the putrid smell of rotting eggs. I've smelled really putrid rotted eggs, and it was bad. It was a bad smell. So my mother goes in to check on my sister at night before she goes to bed herself, and she's hit with this awful smell coming from my sister's bed. This goes on for a couple days. Eventually, it comes out at dinner that my sister's having bad gas at night. Well, I knew that it was the clams, and I didn't say anything. My sister kept saying again, I remember at the dinner table, she kept slamming her fist on the table, saying, I'm not having gas. I'm not having gas. I don't know how I kept a straight face. Well, I kept keeping a straight face. Day after day after day, the stinks got worse and worse and worse. My mother had to put a box fan in the window and turn it on high to blow all of the air out all day so that it was livable. Well, after about a week, they smartened up and said, okay, well, if my sister keeps saying she's not having gas, there's got to be something in the room. They looked everywhere, and at this point I thought, man, I'm going to get caught. I'm in big trouble now. They're going to find that big jug of clams, and I'm going to be done. Well, they didn't find it. I had hidden it so well, and apparently they didn't look that hard, that it remained in the room, and the room still got stinkier. 2 weeks goes by, and my poor mother is totally at the end of her wits. She cannot figure out what's going on with my sister, so she brings her to the doctor. The doctor, after hearing the story of the stink, and my poor sister still insisting it's not her having gas at night, puts her on a special diet. And she was only able to eat whole grains, breads, no vegetables, no meats, no fruit. I remember sitting at the dinner table after they went to the doctors and watching my poor sister cry over her whole grain rice and toast. It was miserable. Well, that made me feel pretty bad. So the next time that both my mother and my sister left to go grocery shopping, I braved the stink. I opened the door. I climbed under the bed with all the stuff, and I got the iced tea jug out. Man, I thought it smelled bad when I first walked in the room. Looking into that huge jug, there was just putrid gray water. It was actively bubbling. It was decaying so much. All the clams had opened up, and I was just about to throw up in the jug. The only thing I could think to do was to really quickly bring it to our compost pile at the back of the garden and dump it out. Well, when my mother got home, she went out to do some gardening, and the stink obviously followed me to the compost pile and was now coming from the compost pile. She put two and two together and called me over to ask me what had happened. I told her the whole story. I was crying. I felt so bad. I told her, just as I'm telling you, I had no idea how this ended up being this huge event that it turned out to be. It wasn't what I had planned, and I actually really didn't plan it. It just unfolded. It was like I was being told by something from above to do this. My mother took pity on me. She also thought it was really funny. And to this day, my sister does not know that it was rock clams under